road construction, pothole repairs, surveying, licensing and registering of vehicles. These are some of the components that make up the Ministry of Transport Works and Maintenance. In this program, we plan to highlight a few departments and showcase their versatility. I invite you to take a look. The ministry is made up of 16 departments and sections which regulate and maintain the roads and transport sector in Barbados. The Chief Technical Officer is in charge of all the technical and operational aspects of the ministry. At present, the Acting Chief Technical Officer is Mrs. Cheryl Bennett-Innes, who has made history by becoming the first female CTO. Previously, Mrs. Bennett-Innes held the post of Deputy Chief Technical Officer, Design Services, and has been employed with the ministry for all of her working career.
The Chief Technical Officer is largely responsible for the technical arm of the ministry. The ministry has two sides to it, the administrative side and the technical side. So I head the technical side, and under that side there are three main divisions: operations, design services, and projects. So operations, for instance, it would deal with the actual field work, the actual road building or construction of buildings and rehabilitation or maintenance of those structures. Design services pretty much deals with land surveying, architectural services, traffic management, quantity surveying. They're all in the design services section. We also have a small electronic unit under the traffic management arm of that, and that electronic unit will deal with things like traffic lights and traffic signals and audiovisual equipment like for Parliament and that sort of thing. Then there's the projects division, currently not headed by a deputy chief, but we do have a project manager in that section, and his role is to deal and manage the internationally funded projects. By nature of the post of Chief Technical Officer, that the person that sits in that post represents the government on a number of boards and committees. There is the Barbados Revenue Authority Board, the Barbados Water Authority, the Architects Registration Board, the Engineers Registration Board, the Transport Authority, and then I'm also Deputy Chair of the Government Tenders Committee and also represent the Disaster Emergency Management Group. I chair two subcommittees for that group. One is dealing with road clearing and tree trimming, and the other one with emergency transport services.
Philip Truder, Deputy Chief Technical Officer Operations, heads the section which handles the day-to-day operations of the ministry. Coordination of road building and road maintenance fall under his office.
I'm responsible for the design, construction and maintenance of roads throughout the island. I'm also responsible for the weeding program, responsible for the testing and research laboratory. Those are just a few of the areas that fits under my responsibility. Prior to this year, we were focused both on road building and maintenance. But going forward for 2019, we're going to be more focused on the maintenance aspect, and we're going to give up most of the roads to be constructed to private contractors.
The DCTO Operations has some advice for the public.
We also would like the public to feel free to call the depots if they have areas that need to be weeded, if they have areas where there are large amounts of potholes. We have no problem with them calling the depot closest to where they live to let the officers know, well, we have a pothole in such and such a place and we would like it patched as soon as possible. We recognize the public could be impatient because we have limited equipment availability right now. Hopefully within the next couple of months, next few months, we will have a new fleet of equipment, and the whole problem is where the grass takes long to be removed, potholes take long to be patched, that will become a thing of the past.
Heading MTWM's project section is Mr. Dave Scanterbury.
The project section is really broken up into two areas currently. We have a project execution unit which executes the CDB, Caribbean Development Bank, and the Inter-American Development Bank projects, or should I say programs, because each one of them is broken up into smaller projects. And then there's also the road engineering section, in which we actually design roads and also try to inform the town planning process. The IDB program is a $50 million Barbados program in which we have two sections. That would be roadworks is the first section, in which we are currently working on 5 roads. That would be the Charles Duncan O'Neill Highway in the north of the island, as well as 2 sections along the ABC Highway. That is the section between Clyde Walcott Roundabout and Norman Nells Roundabout, and the section from West Road going down University Hill to the roundabout at the bottom there.
Another major department in the Ministry of Transport Works and Maintenance is the Barbados Licensing Authority. With approximately 120,000 vehicles on our roads, the BLA has the responsibility of registering, licensing and inspecting all of them. Acting Chief Licensing Officer Mr. Virgil Knight breaks down the BLA services.
The services offered by the Barbados Licensing Authority includes the examination of all vehicles, the weighing of all vehicles, testing for the regulation test, driving tests, and the issuing of driving licenses. The Barbados Revenue Authority works with the Barbados Licensing Authority, but all services offered by the Barbados Licensing Authority must be paid for at the Barbados Revenue Authority.
One of the busiest sections in the Licensing Authority is the inspection bay, where vehicle owners come to ensure that their vehicles are roadworthy. Senior Vehicle Examiner Hartley Aline explains the procedure.
After you've gotten that weight certificate, the application form is filled out. You get it from any of the departments, outlets. The application form is filled out in conjunction with the weight certificate. You set up a date, and on the morning or before, you pay $100 for inspection. The weight certificate is $25. Insurance purposes pay a little more. They pay an additional $25 for the roadworthy certificate. That is handwritten. The PS fees, they are generated, those certificates are generated by the computer. In order to pass inspection, the complete vehicle is examined, lights, steering, brakes, all those things that come with the vehicle. We usually place it on the hoist and we check the steering. If there are any defects, you correct the defects and you bring it back on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings at 1:30. You pay an additional $10 to have it re-inspected.
Mr. Allen explains why, in some instances, there's a long line of vehicles waiting to be examined.
We are doing more and more vehicles. The vehicles, there are, because we only have one hoist working, we have to put everything on the hoist and have them inspected, and they're all 8:30 appointments so that everybody can get the vehicles inspected. The long line is that goes around the building because it's one way, and we have other things going on here. In terms of inspections, we try to ask people to apply like 6 weeks before, just in case if you have to search for a part, that you would have time to get that part, have it put on and come back for inspection. As opposed to just coming the same day, you don't know whether you can pass or not unless the vehicle is prepared, where you take it to your mechanic or whatever auto workshop to have it examined before it comes, so that you know, be clear sailing when you get here. You will just do the inspection and you come back for the results ready around 3 days' time.
Another vital component of the Barbados Licensing Authority is the driver's license section, where in recent times there has been a slight drop in the number of tests being carried out.
At present, we are carrying out at least 25 And the reason for that is because there's a shortage of staff. Previously, when we had 7 testers, we used to carry out in the region of 60 tests per day. But since that shortage, we can only carry out at least 25.
Despite a drop in the number of tests, the success rate has gradually been improving.
There are more passes than failures. Previously, there used to be a high percentage of failures. The reason for some of these failures comes down to a lack of practice, not using road signs, adhering to traffic lights, poor clutch control which causes the vehicle to stall, and not using the gears properly.
Persons who are 16 years and over should be aware of the steps to be taken when applying for a Barbados driver's license.
The first step, you make an appointment to do the written, or what we call the regulation test, and that is $30. Now, if you are successful at that, then you pay $80 for your learner's permit, and that is valid for 6 months. At the end of that 6 months, and you still have not passed your test, then you will renew that permit for a further 3 months at a cost of $35. The first permit is valid for 6 months. So we give persons dates as close to that 6 month expiration date is possible. So it all boils down to how often you can pay to learn to drive, because it's a very expensive venture. So the more practice you can get, it will be better for you when you come in on your test.
At present, there are 3 branches of the BLA: Oistins, Holetown and The Pine. The BLA's main branch is at The Pine, where plastic license cards may be collected. CLO Knight explains that the licensing authority also interacts with other agencies.
Well, we also work closely with the Barbados Transport Authority in relation to the public service vehicles. So we would advise if there are any problems associated with ZRs or the Bs, you can also report it to us. We will pass it on to the authority. We also work closely with insurance companies and attorneys.
Now that we've taken a closer look at some of the services and operations in the Ministry of Transport Works and Maintenance, including the Barbados Licensing Authority, it's our hope that you, the public, are reassured that the Ministry is working to provide the best road network and the most excellent and timely service possible.